Hey everybody, it's Glenn Page. We're back with another review of a new album. This one is Duran, Future Past, which just came out a few months ago. If you don't know anything about Duran, they were the biggest band of the early 80s, the biggest band from the British invasion of the early 80s, the New Wave invasion. And I would start with Decade. If you don't know anything about these guys, go check that one out. But today we're going to be talking about this one. And let me just say, I really like Duran. I like what Duran is all about, and I'm not going to bury the lead. This is a solid album. A lot of people are saying, oh, it's Duran trying to be modern and current. And there is modern production on here, but this is really just a classic Duran album with classic Duran songs on it. Does it always work? We're going to find out. I won't bury the lead. I will say this is a solid album. We will find out how it stacks up against the other albums. I'm going to go through it track by track. Here we go. Invisible. That's a 3 out of 5. That was the first track which they released as promotional track. Do I think it was the strongest lead off? Not necessarily, but it's a cool song. It's got a lot of cool songs on here, sounds in it. It probably has the most cool sounds in it, and they're very experimental on that track. There's a lot of Roger and a lot of John. That's one of the things. If you like Roger and John, it's like Roger held them all in the studio and said, you guys ain't getting out of here until I get some drums on this album, because there wasn't as much Roger on the last Duran album. Roger Taylor is the drummer. So if you like Roger and you like John, they're back. They're back, baby. They're on this album. You'll get to hear them. So Invisible is a strong track. I don't know if it was the strongest track to lead off with, but it's good. It's a 3 out of 5 for me. Now, this next song, all of you, a lot of people on the Duran message boards, they love this song. They're like, whoa, that's the song. It should have been a sing. No. It's a good song. Don't get me wrong. It's a good song. I'm not saying it's not catchy. I enjoy listening to it. But to me, at this point, that sounds like the kind of song Duran could do in their sleep. And it's a bit rote, and I also feel like some of the lyrics, I feel at this stage of their career, sometimes Simon's having trouble finding his voice lyrically. I love the lyrics on their recent album, All You Need Is Now. I feel like his lyrics were pitched perfectly on that album. But here I feel like sometimes he's having trouble finding his voice. He's sort of vacillating between old Duran and this new sort of optimistic, heady, abstract Duran lyric writing, which I understand this is a poppy, fun pop track and you can't get too involved, you can't get too in depth, but you got to have some kind of a little lyrical twist or clever turn of phrase. And at times this song kind of sounds other bands could have written it. There are Duran flourishes in there. I do like it. I'm not saying it's a bad track. I know a lot of you guys love this song, but it's a 2.5 for me. And bear in mind, if you're a Duran fan, you can pretty much safely add a half star or a star to every one of my ratings, but that's a 2.5 for me. I'll give it all up featuring Tove Lo. I don't know a lot about Tove Lo, but this is a strong song, very well constructed, very well done, develops nicely. It's got a little bit of Rio in the keyboards there. It's a 3.5 for me. Anniversary. Okay, now we're going into, this is the stuff that could go on the anthology. That's the first really super strong track there, and it was also the first track they made a proper video for. A lot of John on there, a lot of Roger on there. A really fun video. If you haven't seen it, check it out. They've got all different impersonators in there impersonating the band when they were young. It's on YouTube. Definitely check it out. Anniversary. That's a 4 out of 5 for me. Very catchy. Hooks crisscrossing, catchy song, well written. I have a couple of minor quibbles, but not even really worth discussing here. Future Past, another strong song, very pretty melody. It's got this really cool off-kilter instrumental, which I love. The only thing I will say is, again, with Simon's lyrics, I know he's really optimistic and he's into this whole thing about the future and living in the present, but you got to be really careful with that stuff. You got to use that in small doses, because when you get that heady and abstract, unless you're doing those really weird cryptic lyrics he used to do, like New Moon on Monday, when you start getting into this abstract territory of tomorrow is going to be wonderful and you're not really being concrete, you have to be very careful with that, because a little bit of that goes a long way and people can't relate to it as much after a certain point. There are some really good lyrics in here. I do like the line about flowers of the century growing stronger. Stuff like that is really good, but you have to be careful with the abstract optimism, and Simon really goes to that well a lot lately these days. We get to Velvet Newton. That's kind of a linking piece. Oh, did I rate Future Past? Future Past, that's a 3.5 out of 5. Velvet Newton, that's a linking interlude, intermission. I'm not really going to rate that because it's not a song proper, I suppose you could say. It's more of a linking piece. It's more of a bridge. It's very good. It's got flavors of Tel Aviv in there, classic Duran Duran. I enjoy it. Cool sound. We then move on to Beautiful Lies. We move on to 2 songs here, which were co-produced by Giorgio Moroder, the disco legend, the classic disco legend who produced I Feel Love for Donna Summer. A lot of people aren't that crazy about these tracks. They say, oh, the Duran Duran just had to cross that off their bucket list and get it out of the way. These are really well done songs, guys, and the melodies are strong. They're just classic Duran Duran melodies. Beautiful Lies has a sort of classic Euro disco feel. And again, you got some great Roger Taylor drums in there. The drums like boom, boom, boom. The drums are so off the charts in places that Simon even mentions them in the lyrics. He says something about we're trapped inside a snare. So there's some cool Roger Taylor on there. It's a good song. I like the way the bridge builds. The only thing I'm not totally sold on is the coda. I feel like that chant at the beginning, it doesn't quite work. I don't know what would have made it work better, but I'm not totally sold on that coda. Tonight, I have a few thoughts, but we're not going to go into them here. Tonight, United. I wasn't crazy about this one at first. It's got a very modern sounding hook at the beginning, boop, 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 which is grown on me. I know that Simon really believes in this stuff that he sings, the optimism for the future, but that stuff can really come across as sort of cynical if you're not careful with it. It can come off as a little bit of empty and pandering. Now, I know Simon does really believe in that stuff, and it is probably appropriate for a song like this. So I'll give him a pass. It's not particularly my cup of tea, but I can tell that this is a very well-crafted song. It's very well done, the way the lyrics develop, the way the melody develops. It's a 3 point. I'll give that a 3.5. Yeah, 3.5 out of 5. But bear in mind, it's not really my cup of tea. Wing, another song that people are crazy about. I don't really hear it. I think it's a good song. It's sort of like a comforting old friend coming over and you're having coffee and talking and commiserating and having a good time. There's a warmth to it. There's flavors of Rio and Mediterranean in there, which some people have compared it to a James Bond theme because it has that sort of exotic minor key feel. So it's nice. It's pleasant. It's good to listen to. But some of the lyrics, oh God, Simon, what are you doing? I love you, man. I really do love you. But some of those lyrics, I suppose you could get away with a rabid dog at communion. You could get away with that in a song like New Religion. You're pushing it here. Simon sometimes seems to be having trouble finding his lyrical voice in the latter days of Duran Duran. I understand that. But the other lyric, a pilgrimage of lusting. Oh, God, I don't even know if Simon could have gotten away with that one at 25 years old. I don't mean to sound harsh. I'm being somewhat hyperbolic for comedic effect. But Simon, come on, man. But thank you, thank you either way for giving us this album. It's a solid album. But that lyric, okay. Wing, I'll give that a 3 out of 5. Nothing less. That one was done with Mark Hudson, I believe. I'm sorry if I'm incorrect about that. It's got this kind of cool, creeping feel. It almost sounds like it could be a better track off of Liberty or something. I know a lot of people don't like Liberty, but it's a cool little song. It's got a menacing little creep to it. Again, it's a little bit of a Rio flavor. I like it. So we'll give that one. It's a 3.5. Laughing Boy, a lot of people like this one a lot. It's one of the bonus tracks that ends up on the deluxe edition. Really strong chorus, an excellent chorus, very infectious. There's flavors of David Bowie in there, in the sound effects, a really enjoyable track. That's another 3.5. Hammerhead featuring Ivorian Doll, a very polarizing track. A lot of people don't like the rap. I don't think it's that bad. It's kind of innocuous. It doesn't take away from the song in any way. Well done. It's hooky. It's catchy. Again, I know people don't like me mentioning the Liberty album, but this almost feels to me like it could be a strong track on Liberty. We've got Invocation, which is again sort of a bridge. It reminds me almost of a Roxy Music live solo thing when Roxy Music would be soloing over one of those electric descending minor chord progressions for you musicians in the audience. Something like My Only Love. it has that sort of feel to it. It's a cool piece. Again, it's a sort of a bridge and intermission, so I'm not going to rate it alongside the others, but it's good. More Joy. All right, this is a hot take. I'm sorry, Duran Duran message board, but this is one of the other strong contenders for the anthology. The first one is Anniversary. That's the first one that I could actually see going on an anthology years from now when they say, what are we going to put on the greatest hits? Anniversary is one. This is the other one. More Joy. People are like, no, it's got Chai. They're annoying. I don't like the way. Listen, I'm sorry, but I don't want to just hear Simon layered over himself over and over and over and over. I know some of you would be perfectly happy with that, but you need the contrasting variety in the colors. And the song is called More Joy. It's based on it sounds like a Japanese arcade game. That's why you have the sort of giddy, happy, euphoric sounding women in the background. It works in the context of the song. It works for me, and it worked for some people in the band, and that's why they put it on there. They enjoyed it. It works for me. I think it sort of captures that feel, that giddy feel of pop culture East meeting pop culture West in a superficial sense. It's very, very well done. There's a lot of cool sounds. The bridge is really cool. It has this quasi accelerating effect in the bridge, which sounds cool. It's very tight. It's compact. It's not too long. It's got this great chanted whoa part at the end, which is great. That is great. That is excellent. That's a 4. I love this song. The more I hear that song, the more I like it. So that's a 4 star for me. And finally, Falling. That one is a sleeper hit. I wasn't sold on that one at first. I wasn't even really sure if I liked it at all. But that's one of the best ones here. Maybe the third or fourth best song on this album. It's got Mike Garson, who worked with David Bowie a lot. And melodically and harmonically, there's traces of the Rio album. I maybe Save a Prayer harmonically at times. The chord progression is very Duran Duran. The piano has a improv jazz or almost classical piano at feel at times. Plus, it's got the traditional standard Duran Duran sound effects in there. So it's very cool. That's a strong song. That's a 3.5, closing in on a 4. So that's everything on there. I didn't tabulate all my ratings, but based on what I was saying there, I would say we're safely in the 3.5 territory. So there you have it. Duran Duran, Future Past. People talk about it being their very modern album, and the production is up to date, but really what you're getting here is a classic set of strongly written, strongly crafted Duran Duran songs, and I approve. I enjoy this album. Is it their best? One of their best? I wouldn't say it's one of their best. I think their best albums are probably their first 2 albums. I really like 7 and the Ragged Tiger also. And All You Need Is Now from 2010 is excellent. This one I enjoy, though. It's solid. 3.5 out of 5, okay? All right, we're going to be back with some more album reviews soon, hopefully. So we will see you then. Thanks for being here.